I think an interesting way to look at digital disruption is how it's changing society itself. And we believe that there are 4 important areas in which this digital disruption is most visible. One is how social data is changing, how much we know about ourselves and about each other, and what we do with that. Second is storytelling, because content and stories can now be told in so many different ways, across so many different channels, and they can fit together in so many ways that it's become increasingly interesting. The third one is crowdsourcing. How can we tap into the passions and energies of thousands and millions of people and make something meaningful out of it? And finally, why would people do any of this? So citizenship, a sense of shared purpose, a sense of self-improvement. So those are the 4 areas where we believe digital disruption is most visible. So we talked about 10 frontiers for the future of engagement at the intersection of social data, crowdsourcing, storytelling, and citizenship. And some of these are very interesting, so let me talk about a few of them. First is phenomenon like crowdfunding and collaborative consumption. Crowdfunding is entrepreneurs and artists funding their projects by asking their communities to support it. Collaborative consumption is people choosing to share, barter, rent, swap products and services instead of buying them. And those kind of trends which first happened with entrepreneurs and change makers are deeply disrupting how corporations engage with consumers. Then there are trends like collaborative social innovation and grassroots change movements, which are 2 ways in which citizenship and the idea of a shared purpose is being manifest in most interesting ways. And those are changing how corporations act as citizens, but also how corporations engage people not only as consumers but as citizens. Yeah, and then there's the idea of co-creation and collective intelligence. Co-creation, social curation, and collective intelligence. How can we get people to create things together? How can we curate what they're already creating and find some meaning in it? And then how can we share it back with the community so that they can use it to change their behavior? And so all of those are very interesting areas for marketers to look at. So when we looked at our database of hundreds of case studies, we saw 5 patterns. And so I'll give you 2 extra. So we saw that one, innovation is coming from everyone. So entrepreneurs and change makers are creating innovations, and marketers can look to those, not only look at other marketers, but look to those and learn from them. Number 1. Number 2, innovation is happening everywhere. Not only in the US, not only in Europe, it's happening in India, China, Brazil, large markets like this, but also in smaller markets. And marketers need to look beyond their own markets and look for inspiration everywhere. And the third interesting trend is that corporations are trying to become like media platforms, which means they need to go beyond doing short-term campaigns to creating long-term platforms which either entertain or provide value. The fourth way in which marketers can work with this is that they need to start thinking of themselves as venture capitalists. And that means that they need to almost create funds, put aside 10% of their budgets, and use this budget to invest in innovative activities, innovative startups who might create the future of engagement. And finally, as marketers are doing all of this, they need to understand why would anybody participate in this. And so the idea of a shared purpose and a sense of self-improvement, everything marketers do need to have one of these, or perhaps both. It's extremely important. I think one of my favorite presentations which I do is Made in India, Made for the World, in which I look at examples of Indian startups which are not only outsourcing services to India, but also creating products in India for the global market. And there are a number of examples like this, including SlideShare, for instance, was created by a group of an Indian team. And And I think there's a big opportunity with cloud hosting, with social media, with how easy it is to connect with influencers globally and become one globally. There's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs in smaller markets in developing countries to create products for the global market. And I'm hoping we'll see more of that.